Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Ella and today I'm going to do the mid-year book freakout tag, if that's what they are still calling it. I have read, I think, 18 books so far this year. I'm going to pop up some stats. I know I am behind on my reading goal by quite a lot, like 7 or 8 books behind, but we are going to catch up. Have faith. We still have like about 5 months left in the year at this point. Yeah, so let's just jump into it. Let's talk about the books that I've read, what I've liked, what I've not liked, and here we go. The first question is, what is my favorite book that I've read so far this year? It hasn't been like a super great reading year. Usually I have several favorites by this point, but I mean, I've read some good books, don't get me wrong. I've had some books that I've really enjoyed, but my favorite has to be The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. I listened to the audiobook of this. I don't have a physical copy. I would like to get one as a trophy for my shelves because it is a favorite of mine. It was a 5 out of 5 star, and then I watched the movie, and I've talked about it a little bit, I think, in another reading wrap up that I did. But The Hate You Give is a great book. It is a young adult. It follows Star, who is a black teenager who lives in a black neighborhood but goes to like a white preppy school. So internally, she feels like she has these two personalities that she puts on depending on the people that she's around. And that's a big plot point throughout the book, is her like finding who she really is and who she wants to be. And the major plot point of the book is that her friend is killed by a police officer, and that is the consequences of that is what we follow throughout the book. It's very, very sad. It's very emotional. It's very well written. I loved it. Like I said, 5 out of 5 stars. I highly recommend it to everyone of all reading tastes. And the movie was pretty good too. And I do want to read the other books by that author. I have not yet, but I highly recommend The Hate You Give. The next question is, what is the best sequel that you've read so far this year? This was tough because I haven't read many. I've read technically, I think, 2 sequels, and the book I chose is technically not a sequel. I picked Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros. This is technically the third book in the series, but this is my pick. I really liked it. I liked it a lot more than I did the second book in the series, which was Iron Flame. I think this book was as good, if not better, than the first book in the series, which is Fourth Wing. It is the Fourth Wing series, which is very popular. I'm sure you've heard about it. Since this is the third book in the series, I'm not going to tell you a whole lot about it, but the series follows these dragon riders. They go to a military school. There is a war. There are secrets. The dragons give them powers. The dragons talk, like in their minds. They are characters that speak. I thought this book was very good compared to the first one, and a lot of plot happened, a lot of world building happened, which I really liked. And there's supposed to be, I think, 2 more books in the series, so I'm looking forward to them, and I really like this one. The next question is, what is your biggest disappointment this year? And this is going to be a controversial opinion, but my personal biggest disappointment so far this year has been Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins, which of course is part of the Hunger Games series. This is a prequel book. It follows the character of Haymitch. So it takes place before the main Hunger Games series, but after Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I had very, very high expectations for this book because the Hunger Games series is one of my favorite. I hold it very near and dear to my heart, but I felt like everything this book was trying to do was done better in the original trilogy. I felt that it retconned a lot of established lore, which I do not like, and I just didn't really care for the romance, which is supposed to be a big plot point, like a big point where you connect with the character. I didn't find it compelling or well written, and there was too many cameos. Way too many cameos to be believable. It felt like a bit of fan fiction, which is fine. It's just not what I'm expecting and not what I was looking for. I gave it 3 stars. It was still a fun read, but in comparison with the rest of the Hunger Games series, not the best. The next question is, what is your biggest surprise? So for this one, I picked 7 Days in June by Tia Williams. And I picked this as my biggest surprise because I've mentioned several times at this point that I don't read a lot of romance. It's not a genre I'm super familiar in because I'm very picky and I find a lot of romance to be cringy. So I was a little nervous, but I was pleasantly surprised by how much I really liked this book. I gave it 4.5 stars. Definitely one of my favorites of the year and one of my favorite romances. I thought it was very well written. It's a second chance romance between these two characters who knew each other as teenagers and then re meet as adults sort of accidentally. They're both unique characters and they have their own like growth within the book, which is amazing, separate from the romance. And yeah, I really liked the characters. I really liked the plot. I would highly recommend this, especially if you're sensitive to cringy romances, because I don't feel like this set off my cringe meter. It did one or two times, but compared to normal romance, it was very good on that scale. Yeah, so pleasantly surprised, really liked this one. The next two questions are kind of tough for me specifically. So the next one is, what is a new release that you haven't read yet that you're excited to read? The problem with this question and the next one is that I don't really keep up with new releases. I keep up with the new releases from specific authors that I know that I love or series that I'm currently reading. There's been a few recent releases. The one I chose for this prompt is The Songbird and the Heart of Stone, I think is what it is. I'm going to pop it up right here. It is technically the fourth book in a series by Carissa Broadbent. It is part of the Serpent and the Wings of Night series, but it starts a new duology. So the way that series is written is there's going to be, I think, 3 duologies, so 6 books. They're all within the same series, but each new duology starts following a new set of characters. This book technically came out in November of last year, so not super new. But on a technicality, the paperback comes out this month, which is what I've been waiting on anyway. So it still kind of works. So a little about the Serpent and the Wings of Night series. It's about, people say vampires and Hunger Games. Not an accurate description. It's vampires doing a tournament of games to win a prize at the end. The main character in the first book is a human girl who is the daughter of the vampire king, and she wants to go through these trials with the vampire competitors because at the end the prize is like a wish granted from their deity, and she wants to be turned into a vampire, I believe. It's been a while since I read it, but like I said, it is one of my favorites. So it follows vampires and it's really well written. I like the lore, I like the world building a lot. And then the Songbird and the Heart of Stone follows a character from that original trilogy, and it's Dante's Inferno. Like that character goes through the layers of hell for some reason. I don't know a lot about it because I don't want spoilers. But that's what that's about. That's what the new book is about that I want to read. And then the next question is, what is a book coming out in the second half of the year that you are looking forward to reading? And I've chose the next book after that, which is called, so that book is called The Fallen and the Kiss of Dusk. So that follows directly Songbird and the Heart of Stone, and that book, Fallen and the Kiss of Dusk, comes out in August. So if I read Songbird soon, I would of course like to read Fallen next. Other than that, my other options would have been something by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, who wrote the Inheritance Games series. She's released quite a few books following that series that I haven't gotten to. The last book that I read was The Brothers Hawthorne, so I'm 2 or 3 books behind, but they sort of transition to follow a different story within the same world as far as I understand it. But those would be my answers for new releases I'm excited to read. The next question is, what is the book that made you sad? A few books made me sad, but I had to pick The Hate You Give because per capita, per page, I cried the most reading that book than any other book I read this year. And I don't cry a whole lot when I'm reading books, but that book made me cry frequently. And it was kind of funny because I work at a library. So sometimes when I'm shelving books and putting them away, I'm listening to an audiobook, and I listened to The Hate You Give while I was working sometimes. And I'd have to like turn the book off because I'm just shelving and I'm starting to tear up. And I'm like, I cannot round the corner and someone see me sobbing for no apparent reason. Like, that's how sad I was getting. but sad in a good way, sad in a sad way. It's a great book. The next question is, what is a book that made you happy? A lot of books that I like make me happy. I picked One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston, which I listened to in February. It is a sapphic romance. It's magical realism. The two main characters, one of them just moved to New York for the first time, can't remember why. And then her love interest is a girl that she sees on the subway train. And the magical realism aspect is that she cannot leave the subway train, and it's kind of a mystery, like, how did this happen, what's going on, can we help her, can we get her off? And then of course there's the romance happening throughout the book, and there's a nice cast of side characters who are very lovable and sweet, and I just thought it was a very sweet story and a cute romance, so it made me happy. So technically the last question that I saw on lists when I looked up the prompts was, what is a book you still need to read? I think that is a silly question because there's lots of books I still need to read. So we're going to pick a different one, which is just honorable mentions. So, what are some honorable mentions that I have read this year that I haven't talked about a lot? The first one is The Message by Ta-Nehisi Coates. That is a nonfiction book. I listened to the audiobook, which is read by him. I've read a few books by him now. He's one of my favorite authors. The Message is, it's hard to explain, but most of the book takes place following him traveling to Palestine and Israel. It's really Palestine. And he sort of uncovers, he doesn't uncover, we know what's going on there, but he tells from his perspective what he learns about the apartheid and the way the Palestinians are treated and how the nation has been broken up. And it's a very good book. It's very well written. It follows like his unlearning of like the Israel propaganda we've been taught in America, and it's just good. I would highly recommend that one. The next honorable mention is The Push by Ashley Audrain. I talked about this in another video because I read it at the beginning of the year. This is a thriller that follows a woman who becomes pregnant and has a child, and she thinks that child is, I don't know, kind of a psychopath. It's a thriller. It kind of has an open ending. I really liked that it was written very fast paced. We don't really know what's going on. We don't know if we can trust the narrator. But the little girl is kind of weird. But is she weird, or is this just our perspective? It was a great book. I would recommend that one as well. That's going to be it for my mid year reading check in. Um, Let me know what you have been reading so far this year. What is your favorite book that you've read so far this year? And don't forget to like and subscribe. And I will see you in the next video, which will hopefully be a summer ween reading vlog because I have some books that I really want to read for that specifically. But until next time, see you later. Bye.